Obviously he has so many continents. He's one of the best basketball players in the world ever. So, he just told me, be you.
I remember seeing like an iconic line where he said, "Don't fit in."
Don't say that.
Don't fit in. That was LeBron James dropping wisdom on Luka Doncic in a way nobody saw coming. After the online firestorm regarding Bronny, this quiet interaction suddenly carries a ton of weight. Luka isn't throwing shade or hyping anyone up here. This feels like a coded message, a skeleton key for the madness that followed. We're talking about the blockbuster deal that shattered the league. Let's take it back to the early hours of February 1st, 2025. While most Hoops fans were catching Z's, a storm was brewing. No rumors, no leaks, total silence. Then, boom, like a lightning strike on a sunny day, the Dallas Mavericks pulled the trigger on arguably the wildest move in NBA history. They shipped Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to Hollywood in a monster three-team swap involving Utah. Heading to Texas, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-rounder in 2029. The Jazz grabbed Jalen Hood, Shafino, and some second-rounders. In the blink of an eye, the entire power balance of the league flipped upside down. Pause and really process that. Doncic was just 25 years old. 25. A perennial MVP contender fresh off dragging Dallas to the NBA Finals just last season. This is the kind of asset every GM dreams of but never touches. You don't move a generational talent like that. It just isn't done. Yet, word is Mavericks GM Nico Harrison worked this out in the shadows with Rob Pelinka. No shopping Luka around, no bidding war to drive up the price, zero leverage, just a clandestine midnight call and a handshake that'll live in infamy. The justification from the Mavs? They claimed it was about fitness. They pointed to defensive liabilities and weight issues, alleging he'd ballooned to around 270 pounds. They threw in complaints about nagging calf strains and his refusal to stick to their workout regimens. Harrison went on the record preaching that defense hangs banners, arguing that Anthony Davis was the better two-way anchor to pair with Kyrie Irving for the long haul. But here's the buzz on the street, and I mean everyone from casuals to experts. They all called bluff, labeling the Mavs statement as a frantic attempt to cover their tracks. Because you simply don't swap a 25-year-old offensive savant for a 31-year-old big man with a medical file as thick as a phone book. The math just doesn't work. The backlash? Absolutely nuclear. Players around the association called it basketball blasphemy, labeling it the single most idiotic front office move of the modern era. Stars like Anthony Edwards and half the Knicks roster were open-mouthed on social media. Anonymous player polls revealed total bewilderment. Nobody could grasp why Dallas would pawn off a young superstar for that return package. Outside the American Airlines Center, it was anarchy. Fans marched chanting, "Fire Nico," and security actually had to toss people for waving anti-management signs. Things turned ugly with reported death threats against Harrison obviously crossing the line, no matter how bad the trade was. As for Luka, he never saw the bus coming. He found out he was exiled via Twitter, which is the ultimate slap in the face. He admitted the slander coming out of Dallas hurt, but he took the high road and kept his mouth shut. Rumor has it he hasn't exchanged a word with Harrison since. There's deep bitterness there, mostly about the financial hit. We're talking over $100 million in lost extensions and endorsements tied to the Texas market. Meanwhile, LeBron was just as shocked. Insiders at ESPN reported the King was floored for days. Neither he nor AD got a heads up before the news broke. James confessed that in his entire 22-year run, he'd never witnessed a transaction quite this bizarre. It defied all logic.
Obviously he has so many continents. He's one of the best basketball players in the world ever. So, he just told me, be you.
I remember seeing like an iconic line where he said, "Don't fit in."
Don't say it.
Don't fit in. That was Luka, recalling his very first interaction with Bron in LA. Be yourself. Don't try to blend in. That simple advice proves LeBron wasn't the puppet master here. He wasn't working the phones or having Rich Paul strong-arm the front office. He was a passenger on this crazy ride, but once the dust settled, he embraced the chaos and welcomed his new co-star. Interestingly, there was some chatter with the Boston Celtics before this deal locked in. L.A. actually kicked the tires on sending Davis to Beantown. Brad Stevens took the call, remember? They wanted AD back in 2019, but he played it cool. Those conversations hit a wall fast. Boston didn't bite hard enough. So Pelinka pivoted to Dallas and the Luka blockbuster. To be clear, Luka was never headed to the Celtics. There isn't a shred of evidence suggesting he was ever part of those discussions. Even if the Boston rumor was a nothing burger, the actual trade measured a 10 on the Richter scale. Every headline, every locker room spat, every ounce of drama since stems from this singularity. The moment Luka donned the purple and gold, the fault lines began to open. Just picture it. The Slovenian wonder boy who grew up wiping sweat off the floor at EuroLeague games. The kid who binged High School Musical a dozen times just for the hoop scenes. That guy is now rocking the Lakers uniform, running point alongside LeBron James. And honestly, the honeymoon phase was pure magic.
About all of the anticipation that you must have felt when you entered the arena and you see the 77 shirts all over. How did it feel when you actually got on the court and just got to start playing basketball and you and LeBron are throwing alley-oops? How did you process the whole thing emotionally?
Special. The way they received me, everybody. It was amazing to see. I was a little nervous before. I mean, it was the last time I was nervous before the game, so.
The franchise went all out, draping a number 77 jersey over every single seat in the arena. The fans blew the roof off with a standing ovation. Then LeBron pulled a total class act. He texted Luka that morning, offering him the anchor spot in the starting lineup introductions, the spot usually reserved for the alpha dog.
Yeah, he texted me in the morning. He said, whatever you want. And I said, for him to text me, then it's just amazing. So it shows what kind of person he is. And, and he let me have my moment. So I really appreciate it.
So he said, it's your choice, or and when you say whatever you want, what do you?
Yeah, he said whatever you want. He texted me whatever you want.
And so what did you text back?
I mean, today, if he can let me be this one, but from now on, he's really like.
Bron was ready to pass the torch, but Luka was humble enough to know the hierarchy. He just wanted that one moment to soak it in.
I mean, it's great. You see, I've never played a guy like this. And, just being traded to here, to LA. I mean, it was different. But just to play with guys like him, like, it's unbelievable. Like, I can learn so many stuff, first of all, off the court, all the things he does just to be ready for the game. And obviously on the court, everybody knows what kind of player he is.
Luka was floored by the Kings' grind. He'd roll into the facility thinking he was early, only to find LeBron had already been there for hours and crushed a full workout before Luka even tied his shoes. Steve Nash highlighted the eerie similarities between these two icons. They function like basketball supercomputers, processing the game at a frequency most opponents can't even comprehend. Both possess the size to punish smaller guards and the skill to embarrass larger forwards. They routinely thread needles with passes that maybe 5 guys in NBA history could actually pull off.
Yeah, it's a great point. One of the, you guys are both incredible passers. One of the things about your passing game that I always really admire is the late pass. Did you do that as a kid, or is that something you developed as you got older? But it's it's almost over, and then you go almost 180 behind you to someone for 3. Where did that come from? Is that something that you always did, or it developed in time?
I think it developed during time. I don't think I did that as a kid.
Yeah.
On paper, it looked flawless. 2 generational talents figuring it out. A year in, the Lakers are sitting pretty at 10 games over 500, with Doncic dropping around 28 and 8 a night. By most metrics, the experiment is working. But look past the highlight reels in the win column, and you start seeing hairline fractures. And the root cause centers squarely on Bronny James. They made history in October 2024 as the league's first father-son duo. It was the moment LeBron had been chasing for years. But the storybook ending hit a wall when the actual basketball started. Bronny's transition to the pros has been rough, to put it mildly. His rookie campaign was quiet 27 games, averaging 2.3 points and barely any board or assist numbers, all while shooting 31% from the floor. Year 2 hasn't been much better. The stats are stagnant, hovering around 2 points in garbage time. And that is where the friction creates heat. Because Luka Doncic demands perfection, Luka operates at an MVP level. And when he collapses the defense to get you an open shot, he expects you to let it fly. The tension finally boiled over during a November 2025 matchup against the Bucks. With LeBron in street clothes, Luka's patience with the younger James ran out. Bronny got the start that night. Luka drove the lane, pulled the double team, and kicked it out to Bronny, who was parking in the corner. It was a wide open look, an NBA 3 with 5 feet of space. Bronny hesitated, panicked, and drove into traffic to pass it off. You could see Luka throw his hands up in total disbelief. The very next possession, it happened again. Luka served him another perfect pass. And again, Bronny refused to pull the trigger. Cameras even caught head coach J.J. Redick screaming, "Bronny, you gotta shoot the ball." That pretty much sums up how the staff felt about his confidence issues. The broadcast picked up on it too. Luka, deep in the paint, finds the corner. "Bronny's starting tonight. Let's see if he engages." Was Luka showing him up, or was he just a superstar, frustrated that a rotation player wouldn't take a practice shot? Most people would argue it's just basketball.
Luka's in pretty deep, kicked it into the corner. Bronny getting the start tonight. Let's see now, plenty of action.
But because the players involved are the king's son and the new face of the franchise, a standard basketball play gets dissected a million different ways. The Bucks game was just a symptom. The real drama happened back in August 2025, during a moment that should have been a celebration. This time, the controversy wasn't about Luka's temper. It was about LeBron and Bronny's absence. The Lakers held a massive press conference announcing Luka's 3-year, $165 million extension. This was the franchise officially handing him the keys to the kingdom. Practically, the whole roster showed up to support him. The only notable no-shows? LeBron and Bronny James. LeBron was reportedly on a golf trip. He phoned it in via video chat, which was polite, but the optics of not being there physically were terrible. Dan Patrick went on air and tore into Bronny specifically. His point was simple. When you are the 15th man on the bench fighting for a contract, you show up for the franchise player. Patrick argued that Bronny should have told his dad to cut the vacation short. This was a business decision. When the organization commits $165 million to the guy who is going to carry the team for the next decade, you make an appearance. No excuses. It fueled the narrative about a power struggle in Los Angeles. LeBron has run this show since he arrived. He brought in A.D. He delivered the 2020 ring. But handing the torch to Luka isn't simple. Figuring out who is the true alpha dog in the locker room is a messy process. Insider Shams Charania noted that they were entering tricky territory. Balancing the old regime with the new superstar requires a delicate touch, and LeBron has mostly played it cool publicly. He says all the right things about empowering Luka, but every now and then, the mask slips. There was that quote where LeBron said, "It's Luka's team when I give it to him." That doesn't sound like a passing of the torch. It sounds like a loan. Add in some vague off-season comments and workouts at old gyms, and it felt like LeBron wasn't quite ready to fade into the background. Then you had the Stephen A. Smith incident. It didn't involve Luka directly, but it highlighted just how sensitive the Bronny situation really is. In March 2025, LeBron actually confronted Stephen A. courtside after the analyst criticized Bronny's game. Stephen A. had been saying what a lot of scouts were thinking, that Bronny needed more time in the G League and was only on the roster because of his last name. LeBron walked up and told him, point blank, "Stop with my son." Stephen A. later said he wasn't looking at a basketball player in that moment. He was looking at a father. And that is the crux of the issue. When it comes to Bronny, LeBron loses his objectivity. That protective instinct is natural, but it complicates everything when that son is a teammate messing up the spacing for a 26-year-old superstar who just wants to win. However, don't let the drama fool you completely. There is genuine love between these guys. We have seen LeBron putting Luka in a headlock during timeouts, just joking around. Luka looked ready to scrap until he realized it was LeBron, and they both cracked up. There is leaked audio of them tag-teaming trash talk against Quentin Post. Luka started it, and LeBron backed him up immediately. That is real chemistry. That is teammates bonding. And when Bronny finally got a steal and a dunk against the Wizards, Luka was the first one off the bench, celebrating right alongside LeBron. You remember that viral preseason clip where Luka spots Bronny coming down the hall, hits a fake U-turn like he is ghosting him, and then they both just crack up? That is just locker room vibes, teammates chopping it up. But zooming out a year after the blockbuster trade, nobody is asking if Luka and LeBron can coexist anymore. That debate is dead. The Lakers are stacking wins, and Luka is absolutely feasting next to, arguably the greatest player to ever lace them up. The real elephant in the room is the post-LeBron era. Once the king finally hangs up the sneakers, Bronny's future with the organization gets a whole lot hazier. Without his dad there as a buffer, that safety net is gone. Bronny will have to prove he belongs on an NBA roster strictly on his own merit. And when you are averaging 2 points a game in garbage time, that is a tough case to make. Even LeBron has acknowledged the reality of the situation. When reporters pressed him on his timeline, he didn't mince words. That decision is a kitchen table conversation between him, his wife, and his daughter. Teammates don't get a vote.
As far as how long I go in my career?
How long you in your career?
Zero. The motivation to be able to play alongside him every night, that's super motivating. That's what I'm training my body for. Every night that I go out there and try to be the best player I can for him, and we're gonna bounce that off one another. But as far as me weighing in on him and some of my other teammates of how far I go in my career now. It would be literally my decision along with my wife and, two of my boys are already gone. Well, shit, one of them is somewhere around here. Yeah, Bryce is down there in Tucson, so he's out the house. So it'll be a decision between, me, my wife, and my daughter. Like, that's not even, it won't be, hey, having a meeting with my teammates. It won't be.
Having a co-star that elite at this stage of his career is a blessing, but the exit plan is strictly family business. And whenever he does walk away, the keys to the franchise go straight to Luka Doncic. Meanwhile, Dallas is a total dumpster fire. Nico Harrison got the axe, and Anthony Davis barely scraped together 31 games before they shipped him off to Washington. The haul they got for Luka has basically evaporated. The only silver lining is that tanking landed them the #1 pick in Cooper Flagg, who is tearing up the rookie record books. But be real, ask any Mavs fan if they would swap a rookie's potential for Luka Doncic in his absolute prime. You already know the answer. Thanks for tuning in. If you dug this breakdown, go ahead and click one of the boxes on your screen to catch more videos just like this one.